All right, Panther fans, how's everybody doing? So, as promised, I'm going to start doing some reactions to certain things on this channel. And this one's a doozy. We're just going to start right off. Now, a friend of mine tagged me on Twitter to this. If you've got something you want me to react to, tag me on Twitter or send me an email at flyingfluffyhockey@gmail.com. This is a beautiful thing, what we're getting ready to watch. This is This is the day that we got Bobrovsky. This is the day that the Panthers got Bobrovsky, and the tweet from the Panthers. Now, we're just going to go through a few minutes of the reactions. So the Panthers said, "We got our man. Welcome to the next era of Florida Panthers goaltending." Now, as you scroll down, see there's eyes. There's my buddy tagging me. As you scroll down, you've got some positive comments. Welcome, Bob. Panther fans are happy, etc., etc. What you would expect. And then we start to get to, let's see. Where are we? A couple more. Oh, here we go. Wow, $10 million per 7 years for the right to watch him vanish in the playoffs. Congrats. All right, that's and he didn't even get ratioed that bad. I think I'll like it. In fact, as we go through these, I think I'll like all of the ones that we're going to read. So now this one I actually agree with. Spencer Knight right now is like, you want to tell me what the hell going on? Like that was my thought exactly. I think a lot of us had that thought too. And eventually it ended up being kind of accurate with Spencer Knight being like, look, just send me somewhere where I'm going to play. I don't care where it is. And then whoopsies, Chicago. So here we go, 10x7 LMFAO. I thought it worked out pretty well. MRLZ says another good goaltender in Florida, only to play behind a mediocre team and 300 fans in attendance. Brother, we get more than 300 fans on my streams. I think we'll like that one. Let's see. Jody Jones, I'm sure all of your 8,000 fans are ecstatic. At least they gave us credit for having more than 300. So we're doing better there, right? Mike Acosta is excited, but what a terrible contract. $5 million per cup, soon to maybe be $3.3 million per cup. That's not a terrible take. Here we go. Florida Panthers, welcome to the first round losses until Bob's retirement. More downs than ups. Oh, first round loss. Oh, that's evil. Colin says, what a terrible contract. Angry Joe says, dumb signing of the day. And here we go, Freddie Flyer. I'm sure the 4 fans that show up to each game will be thrilled. Let's just clap for all the originality. All of the originality of the Panthers have no fans. It never gets old. It absolutely never gets old, right? David says, hopefully he turns into the worst free agent signing in the history of sports. Panther hater, right? Here we go. K-Swiss, going to be an expensive backup when Knight is ready. Now, I'm not going to criticize that too much because that almost happened. It was more than once. There was at least twice when I used to do the reviews with Stu that we opened up the show in the morning and go, that's it, right? It's Knight's net now. Bubba's done. Bob's a backup. So I'm not going to throw that one too much shade because that almost happened. That legitimately almost happened. Here's a few good ones. Excellent signing. Oh, and Nick says it was a choke. Yeah, or he was a choker, right? Kip says he was, well, it's interesting. He says he's a parody account, but says overpaid. So we'll give it a like anyway. And here's Carrie Witt with hundreds rejoice. Another, God, the originality of these is just unlike anything I've ever seen. Steve says, good luck with playoff Bob. He's had one good playoff series in his career. Okay. Here we go. Manny says, hello. Love playing for the 8 fans. Keep adding to that. You just love it. You just absolutely love it. There is a positive one. Sean the Bull Shark says this guy turned out okay. I agree with you, right? There's Dustin with his Panther flags. Tanya with a good one. Gary with a good one. We got some decent goalies, right? So a few good ones here. Mark with the decent take. So why use the first round pick on Knight? Can't necessarily disagree with that take. I agreed with that take the entire time. But eventually we turned Knight into Seth Jones, which could really come in handy if we lose Ekblad, right? So Robert says the dude is 30 years old. Let's not call it an era. Well, he got better with age. Chris says the contract is absolutely atrocious for a goalie. Bingo! I love it. Columbus fan wishing Bob well. That's good. Another few positive comments. Nate Floyd says too much money. I won't. The too much money stuff, let's be honest. To be intellectually honest, there were definitely times when a lot of us, especially the first couple seasons, thought $10 million for this. This is really what we paid $10 million for. So to be honest, I'm not going to dock this one too much. Here's a dislike. So this guy thinks Spencer Knight was the next era. Again, that's not a terrible take. I think many of us thought that that's the way it was going to be, right? Here's gross. That's always nice, right? Rich and comfy Bob. Yikes. Yeah, because that's his personality. That's exactly what Bob would do. Let's read a couple more here. And here, this is gross. This is gross. Okay. Frank's a big Panthers fan. And well, look at this. Oh, that was 5 hours ago. You almost got me. He says, I have a feeling he will win back-to-back cups. But yeah, I'll give that one some love. And so let's look for one more bad one. Let's look for one more bad one. See if there's one more. Well, then why draft Knight? We understand that, guys. You drafted a goalie in the first round. Understood, right? Come on, let's. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Let's see if we can get back to that spot. Well, at least you got someone to face all those shots. I mean, and that's true. That's absolutely true. Let's see if we can get one more really bad one. Let's see. Spencer Knight has left the chat. Oh, poor Spencer Knight. We talked about that, right? We absolutely talked about that. Zach says, did you guys jizz harder or what? You're going to single-handedly hand us a lockout. What in the hell was that crazy? What is wrong with some of you people on Twitter? I think this is the perfect way to end it. This is the meme that Cam sent for the Bobrovsky. Yeah. So we're going to like that. And that'll do it. That'd do it. I loved it. I love it. I absolutely love that. Now, to be fair, personally, the way I looked at it was when we got Bob, that was definitely my initial take was, Spencer Knight. Because you just took Spencer Knight, who most of us kind of felt like 2 years, 3 years at most, was going to be like ready to go. And I think if Spencer would have just come in and developed like a normal goalie in terms of getting the playing time, I think that might have happened. And you saw his play in Chicago. He's certainly ready to at least be a starter. So I think the take of, well, why Spencer Knight? I mean, we just blocked Spencer Knight. Bob's got a no move clause, but you have to remember this was before people wanted to come here, right? So we definitely, the only way we were getting Bobrovsky was to kind of overpay, guarantee that he wasn't going to get moved, because that was another thing Florida was known for, Dave Boland, etc., was getting guys in, overpaying them, and then moving on. So I'm sure Bob wanted to make sure he was guarded against that. So this Spencer Knight takes, I don't necessarily disagree with. Now, in terms of the overpaid thing, obviously the first couple of years of that contract did look bad. It looked really, really, really bad. Spencer looked like he was ready to just take the job a couple of times. And that kind of seemed to light a fire under Bobrovsky's ass a little bit, because it seemed like Bob would start playing poorly. Spencer would come in and start playing well. But then because of that contract, instead of just letting Spencer take a natural arc and taking the job, we would always put Bob back in. And lo and behold, he'd start playing better again. It wasn't his fault when we lost, when we got swept from Tampa. That wasn't because of Bobrovsky. So obviously it's turned out rather well for us. Spencer Knight got moved. We got fair assets in return, especially if we lose Ekblad. We're going to be grateful that we had Jones. If we lose Ekblad, and you don't get Jones without Spencer Knight. And hopefully Knight does well in Chicago if they can ever build a decent team around him. He's certainly fully capable of being a franchise goalie of the future for them. It worked out well for everybody. Now Bob's got a couple of kids, and hopefully on July 1st, maybe we'll get the extension. Maybe this year we'll get the Bob signs a 2-year extension, 2x7. Gives us a little bit of a break on the salary so we can sign some guys, and we have Bob for 3 more years, and then he walks off into the sunset with 4 cups as a first ballot Hall of Famer. We'll see how it goes. All right, that's going to do it for this one. Appreciate everybody watching. And these are going to be fun. Like I said, if you have anything you want me to react to just have a quick 10-minute thing up during the summer while there's no hockey, just tag me on Twitter. Email it to me at flyingfluffyhockey@gmail.com. I shall see you again mañana.